Jonah Reid noticed her from across the park, a small figure in a red dress, sitting alone on a bench, shoulders shaking with silent sobs. No parent nearby, no one watching her. Just a child, maybe 6 years old, crying like her world had ended. Jonah walked over, sat down at a respectful distance. "Hey," he said gently, "are you okay?" The girl didn't look up, kept crying, silent tears streaming down her face. Jonah tried again, a little louder. "Sweetheart, where are your parents? Are you lost?" Nothing. The girl wrapped her arms around herself, rocking slightly. Jonah felt the first flutter of concern. He moved closer, crouched down to her eye level. "Can you hear me?" That's when the girl looked up, dark eyes red from crying, and she did something that made Jonah's heart stop. She pointed to her ear, shook her head, then pointed to her mouth and shook her head again. She couldn't hear him. She was deaf, and she was alone. Jonah didn't hesitate, didn't panic, didn't treat her like she was broken. He just shifted, completely immediately, to the language his late wife had taught him, the language Clara had used every day of her career as an ASL interpreter, the language Jonah still dreamed in sometimes, 4 years after losing her. His hands moved, fluid, practiced, asking the question in American Sign Language. "Are you lost? Do you need help?" The girl's eyes went wide. Relief flooded her face. Her small hands signed back, shaky but clear. "Yes, can't find Mommy. I'm scared." Jonah's throat tightened. He signed, "I'll help you find her. You're safe now, I promise." The girl nodded, wiped her tears, and when Jonah offered his hand, she took it without hesitation. As they walked through the park looking for her mother, Jonah noticed details. The red dress was expensive, silk, not cotton. Her shoes were leather, well made. Someone took very good care of this child. Someone was probably terrified right now, searching for her. But no one in the park had seen anything. No frantic parent, no searching adult. Jonah made a decision. His apartment was 2 blocks away. He'd take her there, call the police, wait somewhere safe instead of wandering the park where she'd already gotten lost once. He pulled out his phone, typed a message, and showed it to the girl. "My name is Jonah. I'm going to take you somewhere safe and call the police. They'll help find your mom. Is that okay?" The girl read the message, looked at Jonah's kind face, and signed, "Okay, thank you." As they walked to his apartment, Jonah had no idea that the woman searching for this child was Vivian Carmichael, Billionaire CEO, one of the most powerful people in the city, that police were already looking, that security footage showed him taking a child from the park, that in 3 hours his life would completely change. All he knew was that a deaf 6-year-old needed help, and Jonah Reid, quiet architect, widower, man who learned sign language because he loved a woman who spoke it fluently, knew exactly how to help her. Subscribe to Becca's Stories for powerful daily narratives about the children who can't call for help, the quiet heroes who speak their language anyway, and the moments when saving a stranger saves yourself.
Jonah's apartment was exactly what you'd expect from a 37-year-old architect who lived alone. Clean, organized, full of books and drawings and carefully chosen furniture that was comfortable but not expensive. A home, not a showpiece. The girl, he still didn't know her name, looked around with wide eyes, took in everything. The sketches pinned to the wall, the architectural models on shelves, and then she stopped at the photos. Photos of a woman. Dark hair, bright smile, hands frozen mid-sign in several pictures. A woman who was clearly, obviously important to whoever lived here. The girl pointed at the photos, signed a question. Who is she? Jonah felt the familiar ache. 4 years and it still hurt. My wife, Clara. She died 4 years ago. The girl's face softened with understanding beyond her years. I'm sorry. She was pretty. She signed? She was an interpreter. She taught me to sign. That's how we talked at home. The girl smiled slightly. Like my mommy and me, we signed together. Jonah felt relief. So the mother knew ASL. That was good. That meant she'd raised her daughter with language, with communication, not isolation. He gestured to the couch. Sit, I'll get you something to drink. Are you hungry? The girl nodded. Jonah made hot chocolate, the good kind with real cocoa and whipped cream, and brought her crackers with cheese. While she ate, he called 911. I've found a lost child, a little girl, maybe 6 years old, deaf. She was alone in Riverside Park. I brought her to my apartment to keep her safe while we find her parents. Can you send someone? The dispatcher took his information, his address, a description of the girl. Officers are on their way. Please stay there with the child. Of course, Jonah said. He hung up, turned to find the girl watching him. She signed, Police coming? Yes, they'll help find your mom. Thank you. She paused. Then, my name is Iris. Iris? That's a beautiful name. Iris smiled, pulled out a small pad of paper from her dress pocket. She carried paper everywhere, Jonah realized, for communicating with hearing people, and started drawing. While they waited, Jonah watched her, observed. This was a child who was loved, well-fed, clean, confident despite being lost. Someone had given her that security, that foundation. After 20 minutes, Iris held up her drawing. 2 figures, a tall woman in what looked like a business suit, and a small girl holding her hand. Above them, a massive building with dozens of windows. She pointed to the building, signed, Mommy works here. Important work. Lots of people. Jonah looked at the building in the drawing, recognized the distinctive architecture. Carmichael Tower, the headquarters of Carmichael Technologies, one of the biggest tech companies in the city. His stomach dropped. He pulled out his phone, searched Vivian Carmichael, Carmichael Technologies. The CEO's face appeared, strong features, dark hair, wearing the same kind of suit Iris had drawn. He showed Iris the photo. Is this your mommy? Iris's face lit up. Yes, that's Mommy. Jonah stared at the phone, at the headline beneath the photo. Vivian Carmichael, tech CEO worth $6 billion. He'd found the daughter of one of the most powerful women in the country, and right now, somewhere, that powerful woman was probably losing her mind trying to find her child. He was about to search for a contact number when his phone buzzed with an alert. News notification. Amber Alert. 6-year-old girl missing from Riverside Park. Last seen with unidentified man. If you have information, call. Jonah's blood ran cold. He kept reading. Police are searching for a man seen taking a young girl from Riverside Park this afternoon. The child, Iris Carmichael, is deaf and cannot call for help. Security footage shows a man approaching her and leading her away. He is considered a person of interest. There was a grainy security photo. Jonah recognized himself, recognized the moment he'd offered his hand to Iris. From the camera angle, it looked bad, like he was taking her, not helping her. He looked at Iris, who was coloring peacefully, unaware that the entire city was looking for her, that they thought he'd kidnapped her. Jonah called 911 again. This is Jonah Reid. I called 30 minutes ago about finding a lost child. I just saw the Amber Alert. The girl, Iris Carmichael, she's here. She's safe. I didn't take her. She was lost, and I helped her. Please, please send someone. Tell her mother she's okay. 3 hours earlier, Vivian Carmichael had been in the most important meeting of the quarter, negotiating a merger that would expand her company into 3 new markets. Her phone was on silent. She was focused. When the meeting ended, she had 14 missed calls, all from the same number, her daughter's babysitter. Vivian's blood turned to ice. She called back. Miss Carmichael, the babysitter was crying. I'm so sorry. Iris, she wandered off at the park. I was watching her, I swear, but I looked away for just a minute and she's gone. I can't find her. I've looked everywhere. I called the police. They're searching, but... Vivian didn't hear the rest. She was already running,
out of the conference room, down 40 floors, into her car, to Riverside Park. The park was chaos. Police everywhere, search dogs, officers questioning everyone, and Vivian who negotiated billion-dollar deals without breaking a sweat, who'd built an empire from her father's failing startup, who was known for being unshakable, was falling apart. "My daughter," she told the officer in charge. "Iris, she's 6, she's deaf. She can't hear people calling for her. She can't," her voice broke, "she can't call for help. Please, please find her." The officer was kind but firm. "We're doing everything we can, Miss Carmichael. We've issued an Amber Alert. We're reviewing security footage. We'll find her." But hours passed, and they found nothing, until they reviewed the park's security cameras. "Miss Carmichael," the officer called her over, "we found something." The footage showed Iris on a bench, crying, alone, and then a man walking over, sitting down, talking to her, crouching in front of her, and then holding out his hand, leading her away. "No," Vivian whispered. "No, no, no." The officer said, "We're looking for him. We've enhanced the image. We'll find him. We'll find Iris." Vivian stared at the screen, at the man who'd taken her daughter, who'd walked away with the most precious thing in her world while Vivian was in a meeting about market expansion and profit margins. "This is my fault. I was working. I'm always working. And she needed me, and I wasn't there." Her assistant put a hand on her shoulder. "It's not your fault. The babysitter was covering for me because I can't be there, because I'm always at the office, always in meetings, and Iris," she choked on the words, "Iris deserves better. She deserves a mother who's present, who sees her, and I've failed her." The officer's radio crackled. "We have a location. The man called 911. He says he has Iris, that she's safe. He's at 2847 Maple Street, apartment 4B. Vivian was already moving. "Let's go, now." In the police car racing across the city, Vivian tried to process. The man had called, had said Iris was safe. That didn't sound like a kidnapper. But then why'd he taken her? Why hadn't he called immediately? The fear was suffocating, the guilt worse, and underneath it all, a terrible realization. She was the CEO of a $6 billion company. She controlled thousands of employees, influenced entire markets, but she couldn't protect her own daughter, couldn't even communicate fully with her, because Vivian had always relied on interpreters and technology instead of learning sign language herself. She'd failed her in ways that had nothing to do with today. But if she got her daughter back, when she got her daughter back, she'd do better. Be better. No more excuses. The police burst into Jonah's apartment with Vivian right behind them. And there on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, coloring in a notebook, was Iris. "Iris!" Vivian's voice cracked. She ran across the room, fell to her knees in front of her daughter. "Oh my God, baby, are you okay? Did he hurt you?" Iris looked up, her face transformed with relief. She signed rapidly. "Mommy, I was so scared. I got lost and nobody could understand me. And then this man, he found me and he signs, Mommy. He helped me. He gave me hot chocolate and told me stories and called the police and—" Vivian was crying too hard to follow all the signs. She just pulled Iris into her arms and held her like she'd never let go. Over Iris's shoulder, Vivian saw him, the man from the security footage, standing by the kitchen, hands in his pockets, watching with quiet relief. He didn't look like a kidnapper. He looked tired, kind, like someone who'd been worried. "You," Vivian said. Her voice was shaking. "You took her, the security footage." "I didn't take her," the man said calmly. "I found her. She was alone, crying. I tried talking to her, but she couldn't hear me. When I realized she was deaf, I asked her in sign language if she needed help. She said yes, she was lost. So I brought her here, to my apartment, which is 2 blocks from the park, and I called 911 immediately. The police said they were coming. I was keeping her safe while we waited." "You know sign language?" Vivian looked at him properly now, at the apartment, at the photos on the wall, photos of a woman signing. "My wife was an ASL interpreter. She taught me. She passed away 4 years ago, but I still remember. When I saw that Iris couldn't hear, I knew how to help her." Iris was signing again, pulling on Vivian's sleeve for attention. "Mommy, this is Jonah. He saved me. Everyone in the park walked past me, but he stopped. He saw me, and he knew how to talk to me. He's nice." Vivian looked at the police officers, who were sweeping the apartment, checking everything. One of them returned and nodded. "No signs of danger, Miss Carmichael. Apartment is clean. Phone records show he called 911 twice. Once when he brought the child here, once when he saw the Amber Alert. His story checks out." Vivian felt her knees weaken. You saved her." "I helped her," Jonah corrected gently. "She saved herself by being brave, by trusting me, by knowing how to communicate what she needed." Vivian looked around the apartment again, at the hot chocolate mug on the coffee table, at the blanket Iris had been wrapped in, at the drawings Iris had made scattered on the couch. This man, this stranger, had done more than save her daughter. He'd seen her, had communicated with her, had given her exactly what she needed: safety, comfort, and someone who spoke her language. "I owe you an apology, and a thank you. When I saw the footage, I thought you'd taken her, but you were just helping, and I thank you. Thank you for keeping her safe." "Anyone would have done the same," Jonah said. "No," Vivian replied. "Most people would have been scared or wouldn't have known how to communicate with her. You knew exactly what she needed because of your wife." Jonah's expression softened. Sad. Clara would have loved meeting Iris. She worked with deaf children. It was her passion, making sure they never felt isolated, that they always had someone who could understand them. Iris signed something. Vivian missed it. Her sign language was basic at best, learned years ago and mostly forgotten. But Jonah signed back, and Iris smiled. "What did she say?" Vivian asked. "She asked if she could come visit me sometime, to draw more pictures and drink more hot chocolate." Vivian looked at her daughter, at the way Iris was smiling at this stranger, at the trust in her eyes. And she realized Iris had found someone who understood her in a way even her own mother didn't. "I'd like that," Vivian said, if you're willing. And maybe," she took a breath, "maybe you could teach me sign language. I used to know some, but I've forgotten most of it. I rely on interpreters, on technology. But I should be able to communicate with my own daughter, really communicate. And I think you could teach me how." Jonah looked surprised, then thoughtful. "I'd be honored." 3 days later, Vivian returned to Jonah's apartment, this time without police, without panic, just her and Iris standing at his door with a box of expensive pastries that Jonah would later learn cost more than his weekly grocery budget. "Thank you for agreeing to this," Vivian said when he opened the door. I know asking you to teach me is asking a lot, but Iris talks about you constantly, and I realized I've been so focused on giving her everything money can buy that I forgot to give her what she actually needs: a mother who can talk to her, really talk, not through an interpreter, not through technology, just us." Jonah let them in. Iris immediately went to the couch, her spot, she'd decided, and pulled out a new drawing to show him. More pictures of her and her mother, of Jonah, of all of them together. "She's drawn about 50 pictures of you," Vivian said, half apologetic, half amused. "You're her hero." "I'm not a hero," Jonah said. "I just helped a lost child." "You saved her," corrected Vivian, "when everyone else walked past, when even I wasn't there." Her voice caught. "I was in a meeting, the most important meeting of the quarter, I thought, and she was lost and scared, and I was negotiating market shares." "You couldn't have known," Jonah said gently. "But I should have been there," Vivian insisted. "I'm her mother, and I've been so focused on building my company, on being successful, that I've failed at the one thing that matters most: being present, being someone she can actually communicate with." "You're here now," Jonah pointed out. "Learning. That's what matters." They started with basics. The alphabet. Simple words. Mother. Daughter. Love. Help.
Thank you." Vivian was frustrated at first. Her hands felt clumsy, she kept forgetting signs. But Jonah was patient, and Iris was an enthusiastic teacher, correcting her mother's hand shapes with giggles. After an hour, Vivian successfully signed a complete sentence. "I love you, Iris." Iris's face lit up. She signed back, "I love you too, Mommy." And Vivian cried. Actually cried, not from fear or guilt this time, but from joy, from connection, from finally being able to speak her daughter's language. This is incredible," Vivian whispered. "I didn't realize how much I was missing, how much she's been having to work to communicate with me. And I just relied on interpreters, on her reading lips, on technology. But this," she looked at her hands, "this is real. This is us." "Language is connection," Jonah said quietly. "Clara used to say that. She'd say that every person deserves to be heard in their own language, not translated, not interpreted, but directly, heart to heart." Vivian looked at him, really looked, at the photos of his wife, at the way he spoke about her with love and grief in equal measure, at the man who'd lost someone he loved but still carried her lessons forward. "She must have been remarkable, your wife." "She was," Jonah agreed. "She taught me that kindness is a language too, that paying attention, really paying attention, is how you show love." Something passed between them, not romance, not yet, but recognition, understanding. Two people who'd lost things, Jonah, his wife, Vivian, her presence in her daughter's life, and were learning how to build something new from what remained. Iris, oblivious to the adult moment, signed, "Can we have hot chocolate now?" Both adults laughed. The moment broke, but it didn't disappear. It just waited. Patient. Possible. The lessons became weekly, then twice weekly. Vivian rearranged her entire schedule, something her board was shocked by, to make time for ASL lessons with Jonah. "I've been CEO for 8 years, Vivian told her board when they questioned her new priorities. "And in that time, I've closed billion-dollar deals, expanded into 12 countries, quadrupled our revenue. But I couldn't communicate with my own daughter. Couldn't tell her I loved her in a way she could actually hear. So yes, I'm taking time for this, because being a good mother is more important than being a good CEO. And if you can't accept that, find a new CEO." They didn't. They adjusted, just like Vivian was adjusting. She learned that Jonah was a successful architect, that he worked from home, designing sustainable buildings, making a comfortable living, that he wasn't wealthy, but he wasn't struggling either. He was stable, content, the kind of person who valued meaning over money. She learned that he'd met Clara in college, that they'd been married for 7 years before she died in a car accident, that he'd spent 4 years grieving, slowly healing, learning to live with loss instead of being consumed by it. She learned that he had a quiet strength, that he listened more than he spoke, that he noticed things, the way Iris always sat on the left side of the couch because the afternoon light was better there, the way Vivian's shoulders tensed when her phone buzzed, the way both of them needed reminders to actually rest. And Jonah learned about Vivian, about the woman behind the CEO title, about her divorce 3 years ago from a man who'd wanted a trophy wife, not a partner, about raising Iris alone, about the constant fear that she was failing as a mother, as a role model, as everything that mattered. "You're not failing," Jonah told her one afternoon, 6 weeks into the lessons. Iris was napping on the couch, exhausted from an afternoon at the Children's Museum. "You're here. You're learning. You're trying. That's what good parents do." "I almost lost her," Vivian whispered, "because I wasn't paying attention, because work was more important than—" "But you didn't lose her," Jonah interrupted gently. "She's here, she's safe, and you're becoming the mother she needs. That's what matters." Vivian looked at him, at this man who'd saved her daughter, who was teaching her to communicate, who never asked for anything in return, had even refused payment for the lessons, who just showed up week after week,
patient and kind, and somehow exactly what both she and Iris needed. "Why are you doing this?" Vivian asked. "Really, you could charge me thousands for private ASL lessons, but you don't. You just help. Why?" Jonah thought about this. Because Clara would have. If she'd been the one to find Iris in the park, she would have helped. She would have made sure Iris was safe, and then she would have taught the mother who came looking for her. Because that's what love does. It extends. It multiplies. It doesn't end when the person you love is gone. It just finds new ways to exist. Vivian felt tears on her face. "You're still in love with her, Clara." "I'll always love her," Jonah said honestly. "But I'm also learning that you can love someone who's gone and still have room for new things, new people, new possibilities. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm open to finding out." The words hung in the air, heavy with meaning, with possibility, with something neither of them was quite ready to name. Iris stirred on the couch, woke up, signed sleepily. "Are we still here? I like it here. It's quiet, like home but different." Vivian signed back, slowly, carefully, but correctly. "Do you want to stay longer?" Iris nodded, then signed. "Can Jonah come to our house sometimes, so he's not always alone?" Jonah and Vivian locked eyes. Both saw the same thing, a 6-year-old playing matchmaker without even realizing it. "I'd like that," Jonah said, speaking and signing simultaneously so both mother and daughter could understand. "I want you to," Vivian said, then signed it. "I want you to." Jonah stood in Vivian's house. Not a house, really, more like a mansion, and marveled at how much had changed in half a year. Vivian was fluent in ASL now, not perfect but functional. She could have full conversations with Iris, could sign "I love you" and "How was your day?" and "Tell me everything." Could be present in her daughter's life in a way she'd never been before. Iris was thriving. She'd started at a new school, a deaf school, where everyone signed, where she wasn't isolated or different but just another kid. She talked about her friends constantly, about her teachers, about how much she loved being understood. And Jonah had become part of their family. Not officially, not formally, but undeniably. He came to Sunday dinners, to Iris's school performances, to birthday parties and holidays, and quiet weeknight evenings when Vivian needed someone to talk to and Iris wanted to show off a new drawing. "I don't know what this is," Vivian said to him one Sunday evening. Iris was in bed. They were sitting on the couch, the expensive couch that somehow felt less expensive when Jonah was on it. "This thing between us, whatever it is." "Does it need a name?" Jonah asked. "I'm a CEO," Vivian said with a slight smile. "I like things defined, labeled, controlled." "And I'm an architect," Jonah replied. "I like things with foundations, solid ones, built slowly so they last." "Is that what this is? A foundation?" "Maybe. Or maybe it's just two people learning to communicate, really communicate, the way you're learning to communicate with Iris. No interpreters, no technology, just presence, attention, care." Vivian moved closer. Not kissing close, not yet, but close enough that Jonah could see the vulnerability in her eyes, the hope, the fear of wanting something and not knowing if it was allowed. I haven't done this since my divorce, haven't let anyone in, haven't wanted to, but you saved my daughter. You taught me how to talk to her. You showed up week after week, never asking for anything, never expecting anything, just being there. And I think," she took a breath, "I think I'm falling for you. And I don't know if that's okay, if you're ready for that, if—" Jonah put his hand over hers, gently, the same gentleness he'd used with Iris in the park 6 months ago. "I'm ready to find out, if you are." "I am," Vivian whispered. They didn't kiss, not yet. That would come later, after more Sunday dinners, after more conversations, after Iris explicitly asked if Jonah was going to be her new dad, and both adults had to figure out how to answer that honestly. But for now, they just sat, hands clasped, building something slowly, with a foundation strong enough to last. And upstairs, in her bedroom, Iris drew a new picture. 3 people, a woman in a suit, a man in yellow, and a small girl in red, all of them holding hands, all of them signing "I love you" to each other. She titled it My Family. And maybe, just maybe, she was right. If this story touched your soul, you've experienced the power of Becca's stories. Subscribe for powerful daily narratives about the children who can't call for help, the quiet heroes who speak their language anyway, the mothers who learn they've been failing and choose to do better, and the slow building love that comes from really, truly seeing each other. Comment below, what language are you learning to speak for someone you love? What does it mean to really communicate? Our mission is to inspire your life and brighten your day through powerful narratives of transformation and human resilience.